Hello again, gamers. Welcome back for another news video here on the Board Game Captain. I'm the Board Game Captain, and today I am talking with Marcello Bertocchi, who is the head and one of the main designers also over at XV Games. Hello, Marcello. How are you today?
Fine, thanks. Nice to see you.
Oh, it's good to see you too. And Marcello's got tons of news, so I'm just going to turn it right over to him because he's got a whole bunch of stuff to announce for this news video. So, Marcello, what is going on over there at XV Games?
Yeah, we are working hard after Essenspiel, and now we are planning for a lot of stuff for next year because it was a good year, and so it allows us to put out some new stuff next year. So we are planning for 4 new games in the bag format, so in the board on bag format, because at the moment we have 2 lines of products. The first line is the more standard games, where we published the Libraria in 2018 and Carte in 2019 by Rainer Knizia. And then we are developing the more classical abstract games in the board on bag line. And we are planning to publish 2 more for spring that will come out with Modena Play, that is the biggest board games fair in Italy.
So what are the 2 new titles? What are the 2
new
the
2 titles coming out in Modena in spring, in April, are Kuniumi and Dice Scrapers.
So Dice Scrapers, and the other one, what is it called?
It's Kuniumi.
Kuniumi.
Yeah.
So who are the designers on these 2?
Kuniumi is made by Ignazio Panades, that is an half Italian, half Spanish designer. And it is a very classical abstract games based on Go, on the game of Go. Okay.
Oh, interesting.
But based on the opposite mechanic of Go. It's a game where you want your groups to be enclosed by the opponent's group.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And it's called Kuniumi, that is Japanese for the myth of the birth of Japan. It's called Kuniumi.
Oh,
where the gods Izanami and Izanagi couples to create the islands of Japan. So it's a game where there is this small theme attached to this abstract game, where there's these 2 divinities that are creating the islands of Japan, and it's based on the like an anti-Go kind of game.
Interesting.
And Dice Scrapers is made by a collective of designers, Italian designers. So these 2 are from mostly Italian designers, and they will come out for the Italian fair. And for the first time, we are trying to publish a little bit different game. It's a dice game, but even if there is some random that usually we don't put in our games, it's a controlled kind of random, because it's a randomization of the values, but then the gameplay is the perfect information. And it is a stacking game where you throw some dice, you choose these dice and create some towers, some dice scrapers with these dice. And it has a slight dexterity component, because the height of the towers is not limited by a number, but by dexterity, because the higher the tower it gets, the easier it is for it to fall. And if a player makes a tower fall down, he loses the match.
Yeah, I had actually tried, full disclosure to everyone watching, I'd actually tried Dice Scrapers. I haven't tried Kuniumi yet, but I tried an early version of Dice Scrapers, and it was really interesting. I liked where you guys were going. I tried it to give some feedback on it. But yeah, it was really interesting. So the numbers were very important for where you could stack them. And it was funny because, like you say, you have that little dexterity component. If you accidentally knock it over, whoops, over.
Yeah. It's an abstract game. It's completely abstract in numbers management, but it has this component of you have to be careful of how you put the dice, because if you make everything fall down, you lose.
So what else you guys got going on over there? What other?
And so these 2 for spring, and for next year's Essenspiel, we are publishing 2 new games that are Anansi, Dance of Spiders, and Urbino. Anansi is from a Japanese designer that is called Yusuke Sato, that has quite a lot of games published already. He published Time Bomb with Yellow. He published Shibuya with Primigenio edition. So he has some games here and there. and it is an interesting game. We are reworking one of his games that is called Wrecked, and he published it for Tokyo Game Market in spring 2019. And it is an entrapment kind of abstract game where you move on a board, leaving some blocks around, and the player who cannot move loses the match. And we are developing it with this spider team, and so the board will be a spider team with a web and stuff like that. And we are going to develop it in a little bit more complex game. Not complex in rules. We still stand on our point of having games with few rules that can be taught in 1 minute, but a little bit more rules that had only like one rule. We are making it like 3.
Fair enough. So,
but it's a very nice game. It's very, very simple, like 5 minutes kind of game, but with a lot of choices.
So a lot of simplicity in the rules, easy to teach, easy to learn, but then a lot of complexity through the combination of what you can then do with those rules.
Yes, we are inserting this mechanic of movement choice and movement exclusion, where you choose a kind of move to make, and when you do that, you are blocking that move for the other player. And when all the moves are taken,
that's for Anansi,
they are free. They're freed up again and for everybody.
Yes, that's the one that's for Anansi, right? Or is that
for Anansi? Okay. And so this one is Anansi.
So for people watching, actually, I have been part of the play test for Anansi as well, also to give feedback. And I think the thing that it reminds me most of, now again, when I play tested it a while ago, it was in a very early state, so I know there may be some evolution of it happening. But the thing it reminded me most of was the old Tron light cycle game, because you're both moving around and leaving behind pieces wherever you move that no one else can move on again. So you were kind of trying to block off your opponent. It was an interesting concept.
Yeah, it got a little bit more developed on that. We added some jump moves and.
Oh, very cool! Very cool. So
it's developing. It will come out in autumn 2020, so it's still under work.
Of course. Yes, I didn't want. Like I said, the version I was doing very early, but it definitely had some interesting concepts, and I'm very interested to see where that one goes. So now you had also told me you had some other things to talk about, specifically something I am super excited for, which I'd love to tell for you to tell us about your upcoming role-playing game. And correct me if I'm wrong. This will be
we still miss one game for the board
Oh, my mistake.
No problem. Also because it's one of my most loved project because it's Urbino.
Okay.
It is a game already existing. It's a game published by Gerhard Spiel. That, if somebody knows it, is an abstract games publisher from Germany that makes very nice, very expensive, full wooden handmade abstract games, like very expensive games. And it is a very good game. It's made by Dieter Stein, that is a very good German designer, and it actually won the German Mensa prize, the Mitspiel prize, in 2019. And we made this agreement with Gerhard Spiel and Dieter Stein. So we are publishing the portable version in our board and back line for 2020. So it will be a new edition.
Similar to like what you did with Greener, where they're still publishing a larger version, but then you're doing a little like travel version in their board and back line.
Exactly the same. But it's a little bit different from our usual line, because it's not like strategical smart filler. It's more of like a complex abstract kind of game.
Okay.
It's a little bit more deep than the other games.
Oh, fair enough.
But it's a very, very, very good game, and so we are really happy to have this game in 2020, and it will be a pleasure to sell it.
My favorite, and these have become, your board and bag line have become my like lunch break at work games. And my favorite so far is definitely, hands down, Wizard's Garden.
Yeah.
I love bringing this one for lunch, and a lot of people have gotten really into it. In fact, I've had multiple of my coworkers go and buy it after they played it with me.
Yeah, because it's a great game, because it has like some components, some mechanics that are very common for people, even not for gamers, like Othello kind of mechanic or three in a row kind of mechanics, four in a row, sorry, kind of mechanic. But it's developed in a modern design kind of way.
No, it's very brilliant. I like that one a lot. So what else do you guys got working on? I know there's a couple more things.
Yeah, we have a lot of stuff for next year. I don't know if we will make it to accomplish everything, but we'll try. So we have. Do you want to talk now about the role-playing game, or we make all the board games and then role-playing? No, let's go role-playing game.
This is now. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is the first role-playing game you will have produced over at XP Games. Is that correct?
Yes, indeed, it is.
And I'm super
it's called
excited.
Biblioversum, and it's a project we started like when we were born, so in 2018, and it got a bit stale because we had to focus on other stuff. But in 2020, we should be able to start to focus on it a little bit more. It is a kind of weird kind of role-playing game because it is a diceless narrative role-playing game. It is a role-playing game where you actually do not roll dice or use any other component to randomize effects. The only component you use for the game is a pen and paper with the character sheet and books. So everything you use in the game are books. And of course, it's a role-playing game for book lovers mainly. And I think it's very nice because the whole concept of the game, more than the background story, is on the mechanics and on the character development. Because the idea is that the players are bibliomancers, so are people who love reading a certain book or some books so much that they develop a link with these books, and these links allows them to summon powers from these books or even travel into these books. And the whole concept is that these persons can summon their power actually reading from their book. So you have to actually get your book and read parts of your book to summon your powers.
So full disclosure, when Marcello first contacted me about reviewing the first game he was going to send me, I had to look at his website like I always do with any company. And I saw the coming soon Biblioversum and read about it. And I said, yes, I'd love to review a game. FYI, also, as soon as you get this out, I'd love to review this too. Because I was immediately excited about this project. It's such a cool concept. I have been a big reader for a good portion of my life. And I love the idea of picking one of my favorite books and bookmarking all of the cool passages that could be, interpreted to do things like opening a door or attacking someone or flying or whatever it might be. And I can't wait to try this game. This game is so amazing. Marcello, you also had messaged me when you were talking about the stuff coming. So there's going to be 3 different editions for this.
Yeah, we have this project. We want to go big with this project. Not big in sales because it is very kind of niche kind of project, but big in the idea because it's a game that is very good for a lot of things, like for reading projects for kids. And so we would like to make 3 editions of this game. First edition that will be like mostly only the rules, basic manual kind of rule book. And that should come out first in Italian around the end of 2020, and then will be translated. And then we will publish a kids version of the rule book. Oh, very simplified. It's already quite simple, but even more simplified with very basic rules and more focused on the books to be used like in libraries or schools for reading projects for kids and developing fantasy and narration and stuff like that. And we'll have also illustration more on that kind of audience.
And then what's the 3rd edition going to be?
The 3rd edition will be, it's my favorite. It's a very difficult project, but I'm planning to do it right because it will be a version of the game published in a like an agenda, like a memo book. I don't know how it's called in English, like a Moleskine, a notebook, like a notebook, a small notebook.
Oh, a notebook, like is it going to be like a marble notebook, or like what's the cover going to be like?
Yeah, like a fake leather cover.
Oh,
and,
okay.
Like
the
small calendar kind of stuff.
Like an expensive notebook, like a journal, or
like a journal. Like a journal, but more modern. Like a journal, and it will be not like a manual, but more like the story of a bibliomancer.
Okay.
That is taking notes about what is happening to him, and doing so, he explains the rules of the game.
Interesting.
So the whole manual is not just explained; it's narrated by a bibliomancer, by a character.
So actually, that edition, then, I mean, the text of that edition will be different than the other two editions.
The text will be different from the other two editions, and the text will be completely handwritten. And I don't mean like with the font of the computer, and that's like seems like handwritten. It will be actually handwritten by the illustrator, and all the illustrations will be just the illustrator like taking small images, small drawings of while he writes.
So he's gonna handwrite all the pages, and then you're gonna print them in his handwriting.
Yes.
So each one you get is gonna look like a copy of his journal.
Exactly.
That's gonna be an interesting special edition. That is intriguing. I can't wait to see what that looks like.
Yeah, wow. I still have to tell that to the illustrator, so I fear what he will answer to me. It should be okay.
So are all the versions going to be out at the same time, or are they going to be staggered?
No, I think they will be split. So I think the basic manual will be the first one coming out, also because we are publishing that with as the support of an Italian publisher that is called the Hypnos Edition. That is a publisher that is focused on weird literature, weird science fiction, and they really love the project, and they want to work on this edition with us. So I think the basic manual will come out with them first in Italian, and then I don't know if it will have also an English edition, but the kids edition and the deluxe handwritten edition for sure will be probably first in English than in Italian.
So when are we looking to see the first edition in English?
If you are lucky, in edition in English, I think maybe end of 2020.
Okay, so this is a little ways off. This is still about a full year away.
I don't want to rush it. I want to. It will be a quite weird kind of project, so I don't want to rush it and.
I don't blame you. It's
like lower the level of the project.
It's better to do it right than to rush it, definitely. So now I think you had one other thing that you had messaged that you wanted to talk about.
A couple of things more. I have a game with Nestor Games, pen and paper, and game design.
Okay.
Very quickly for the game design contest, you already talked about it in your video.
I did a news video about it recently. Yes, it is an abstract game design contest.
Yeah.
Open to everyone, general public.
Yeah, it's 2 players, few rules, few components. Short time, deep strategy kind of games we do.
I'll pop up when I post this news video. If you want to get the full information on that contest, I'll pop a link to that news video on the top of the screen.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Oh, no problem.
And so we will start receiving the games from January, so in like 20 days, and we will stop at end of May. And we will make a first selection with a team of XP Games collaborators, and the 10 finalists, 5 finalists, I don't remember. 5 finalists. Yeah. Five finalists will be evaluated by an international jury made of different kind of people in the board game industry, like you, and Hammerhack, and Nestor from Nestor Games, Masayuki Nakano from Banesto Game Store in Nagoya, and some different designers and shop owners, reviewers. I wanted to have a very different kind of jury and to evaluate the games better.
It's a very we are a varied group, all of us who are on the jury. You guys, so again, check out that video I already put the link up to. I'm probably going to link the video at the end of this video also, if you want to check out the full rules. But definitely submit your games to be, you have nothing to lose. If your game gets chosen, you're gonna get your game published, and all of the finalists, all of the 5 chosen, are gonna get a bunch of prizes.
Yeah,
which
they'll
is
get
awesome.
a bundle of all the games we are published up to that time. So maybe.
And that's a bunch of games now.
Yeah, like 10 games. So.
Yeah. So definitely, you got nothing to lose. Nothing to lose. Submit a design.
Also,
you might get published.
because it's this kind of simple games, I wanted to have more people try to participate. So I said that if the game has simple components, it's not necessary to ship an actual prototype of the game. So you can just send a rule book and it's enough. So it's very easy to participate.
Plus, all of us who are chosen to be the judges, we have so many components sitting around in our various houses. It'll be easy for us to mock up the game.
Yeah, no point to get a prototype of something that uses like 10 pieces in 2 colors. I mean,
there were about 30
30
games just sitting on this table with me right now. So
okay, no more time on this one. We have a book. We are publishing a book in before summer. That is a book about games you can do only with pen and paper.
Okay.
And I mean, not that I give you like a pattern where you play the game, but games that you can play if you have an empty paper and a blank paper and a pen.
So are these multiplayer games or these solitaire games?
It depends. There will be various kinds of games, from war games to word games to war games to deduction games, abstract games. There will be a various selection of games, going from very classical games, like very old games or classical games, passing through modern games. So games from the 50s or 60s made by mathematicians or informatics or good designers like like Aggression by Eric Solomon, stuff like that. And also there will be some inedit games or adaptation of modern games. We have already some very important designers that are collaborating with us. For example, we have an inedit game by Rainer Krinzia. We have an inedit game by Hjalmar Hack, the author of Photosynthesis and King's Dilemma. And what this made, the Similo, and like mostly is the lead designer of Horrible Games.
Oh, very cool.
Horrible Guild now, sorry, they changed the name. And we have a game by Colovini, by Paolo Mori, the author of Libertalia. We have we're getting new collaboration while we go on, so we have some famous designers giving us games.
It's very interesting. So are there going to be some roll and writes in there?
Because the only components must be a pen and a sheet of paper.
All diceless.
All diceless, completely, no randomization. So you cannot even randomize numbers or anything. So it's all about pen and a paper and a clean paper.
This sounds really kind of cool. I mean, I remember books like this back in the 80s. I haven't seen anything like it in a long time. This is a cool sort of concept. Of course, back then it would have been all very, very, very classic games, not the modern type designs, mind you. It would have been things like we used to do a lot of games like that in the U.S. We had ones called Dots was one of them. And
that will be there, of course.
Oh, okay.
Dots, Sprouts, and.
I spent many a lunch period in 6th grade playing Dots.
Yeah, the idea is it's like going in the opposite direction, trying to go opposite direction from current modern board game industry. Saying, okay, now we're having even always more expensive games and more components, and that's not like a bad thing. We are developing the hobby into something big, more and more. But sometimes I think it's also good to try to go back and
Sure.
see where everything came from, but not just taking an archive of all games, but trying to also develop something new about like that. Like with the knowledge we have now of game design, we can make stuff that we would have made at the time, but with the knowledge we have now.
Oh yes, definitely. I'm interested to see what kind of games are in there. I'm really curious to see how because you said there's war games in there, and
that's a classical one actually. It's Aggression by Eric Solomon. It's a very nice war game that is made only with a paper. It's incredible game.
I can't wait to check that out. I've never played it. I'm very interested to see how a war game is played with just pen and paper. I really want to check that out. That sounds interesting. Oh wow. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, this will come out before summer in Italian, first edition, and will be translated for Essenspiel 2020.
What is the title going to be?
Still to be confirmed.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. So, all right. And did you have one more thing, I think?
Yeah, last thing is just a small news.
Okay.
That is that we made an agreement with Nestor from Nestor Games. And we are publishing, I'm publishing more as a designer than with XV Games, a game with Nestor Games. And it is called The Return to Camelot. And it will come out for spring.
Okay.
And it's
now is this being jointly published between XV Games and Nestor Games, or is it
no?
Just
It is published
Nestor?
by Nestor Games, but it will have also the XV Games logo because I'm a designer. But it will be an edition of Nestor game of one of my games.
Okay.
And this game I decided to made it with him because it's a very classical abstract strategy game, and it fits completely in his kind of line of games.
Awesome.
And that is the one with the games in the pen case and the board made of like a mouse pad kind of board.
Yes. The neoprene.
Yeah.
Neoprene. Yes.
And it is a game that is based on the classical game made by Parker from Parker Bros. That is called Camelot Chivalry.
I don't think I've ever played this one.
It's a very old game. It's from like 1883.
Okay.
And it's not in print anymore. I think last edition was like in the 70s.
Okay.
And it's based on the idea of that game, but adding some more modern mechanics, like hidden pieces mechanics taken from Stratego, and the reuse of pieces like in shogi, and it has some more tricks.
So I love the mechanic of the bluffing pieces like in Stratego, and a lot of the other games that have been inspired by that. So I'm excited for that because that's something I'm a big fan of, games that do that. I think that's great.
Yeah, I think it's a very good game. It's not an easy game to sell because it's very classical, and it has a look that is very classical. That usually it scares a bit from modern customers. That's why I decided to go with Nestor Games because he has a line of that kind of games. So people who go there like that kind of games.
Fair enough. All right, so that's awesome. You've got a lot of stuff coming in the next year. I mean, your plate is full, as we would say. You've got.
There might be some other news, but maybe we'll have another video later in 2020.
Oh, okay, sure. This is awesome. I hope everybody watching enjoyed this. Comment down below on what you thought of this news. Share this on all forms of social media, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Board Game Kaptain. That's Captain spelled with a K on YouTube, and hit that little bell icon. And stay tuned for more news. I'll do my best to keep you guys updated when I get any bits of interesting news from people in the game industry, contacts I've made, like Marcello here, who contacted me and told me he had a whole bunch of news to tell my audience for 2020. So I got to tell you, my number one thing I'm most excited for, hands down, is Biblioversum. I am super excited. I can't wait for that. But you know what? Now I'm also excited for a whole bunch of other things. I can't wait to check out your game book. I can't wait to check out a whole bunch of the little abstract strategies you got coming out. And now I'm really excited to also check out the Camelot game you're going to have with Nestor Games, because that's going to be really, I love that bluffing piece mechanic. So I can't wait to check that out. So there you have it, guys. Until next time, game on.